Hi. First of all, thank you so much for giving me an opportunity to share a few thoughts on this 50th episode of the Regional Mentors interview. I do want to thank every one of you who is part of the innovation journey and the innovation initiatives of India, be it teachers, principals, mentors, university management, as well as corporate partners who have all played such an important role in many of the initiatives, including the Atal Innovation Mission, which is a flagship initiative for driving innovation and entrepreneurship across the length and breadth of our country. It is indeed a great platform for many of you, mentors as well as others, to be able to share not only your thoughts, but your learnings, your experiences, your inspirations in your innovation journey. And that is so very important because you learn so many things in interacting with the budding innovators and the entrepreneurs of our country. And I hope this episode serves that purpose in some small manner. I've had the unique opportunity to be serving as the first mission director of the Atal Innovation Mission between 2017 to 2021. And I have so many of you to thank for the incredible learnings, experiences, and inspirations in this journey. All the very best.
Welcome to the special edition of the podcast series, Regional Mentor Interview by Vinod Tiwari, where you will discover true motivational stories of India. To represent 34 states and 722 districts of India, there is only 90 regional mentor of change and around 5,000 plus mentor of change who are associated with the flagship initiative of Atal Tinkering Lab by Atal Innovation Mission, NITI Aayog. These intellectuals and experts have been selected for mentoring to 7,200 schools across India, where approx 5 million students are benefited directly, with a vision to cultivate 1 million children in India as neuteric innovators. Mr. Vinod, the host of the show, is also a regional mentor of change for Gujarat State, a best-selling author, international speaker, engineering director, and influencer, solar expert awardee, a strategic thinker, and has been referred to as a magician of words. He is truly a professor of success principles from the University of Life. Enjoy, and you can thank us later.
Hello and namaste and good evening. So first of all, I would like to invite one and all to the special 50th anniversary Golden Jubilee episode.
Congratulations and celebrations when I tell everyone that you're in love with me. Congratulations and jubilations. I want the world to know I'm happy as can be.
Yes, this is a very big milestone which we have achieved. Thank you very much for your support on all the platforms, whether it is Apple Podcast or Spotify or Google Podcast or Amazon Music. You have given your love everywhere. Not only all the platforms, but many cities and countries, people have joined us. So it's amazing. It's your love who inspired us to continue the journey. And today we are here at the 50th episode on the verge of the completion of this series. Thank you once again.
Welcome to the special edition of the podcast series, Regional Mentor Interview by Vinod Tiwari, where you will discover true motivational stories of India.
So you might be thinking that who are the regional mentors and who are the mentor of change? Let me just explain. To maximize the input of the Atal Tinkering Lab, Mentor of Change program is envisaged to be the largest formal volunteer network in India. Mentor of Change is aimed at engaging leaders, industry community professionals, brilliant technocrats, entrepreneurs who can guide and mentor young students in these labs for their neighboring schools to be as a role model for young innovators. After competitive rounds of the selections and reviews, top mentors from all over India has been identified and selected to take extra responsibility of their respective states. So approximately 91 regional mentor of change has been selected in 2 batches from existence of 5,000 plus mentor of change across the nation. So it's truly my honor and privilege to host the country's first mission director, Mr. Ramanan, who have successfully took off the flight of the Atal Tinkering Lab and brought it today at an autopilot mode. Welcome, Mr. Ramanan, to the podcast show, and I'm super excited to host you today. Mr. Ramanan, the whole world is probably aware about the initiatives you have put, and there is no one who does not know about you. The way you have tirelessly worked to keep the mission number one. So still we would like to know more about you and your career background. So would request you to kindly let us know more about you. Thank you.
Thank you, Vinod, for giving me an opportunity to share a few thoughts on this wonderful occasion. Of course, I had the unique opportunity of working with the Atal Innovation Mission as its first mission director, which started around June 1st, 2017. But then, a lot of things have happened before that, which have given me a whole lot of learnings, experiences that came in very useful when I launched upon this particular mission as its mission director. I joined TCS in 1981 after graduating from IIT Bombay in electrical engineering. TCS at that time was a fledgling organization, as many of you may be aware, and it had close to about 500 to 700 people at the time that I joined. Of course, today TCS is a giant of a company with over 500,000 employees spread across more than 42 countries. The learnings at TCS were very useful because it was an entrepreneurial organization. And how do you ensure that as an entrepreneurial organization you grow not only domestically but also internationally? So it gave me a whole lot of new experiences, learnings in various positions that I held at TCS, whether it was as a system software engineer, whether it was as a technical marketing representative of TCS. I went on to do business development for TCS across in the United States and different parts of the world, like in UK, Europe, Australia, New Zealand, and so on. And then I had the opportunity of running major delivery centers of TCS in India to serve its clients across various parts of the world. Then came the opportunity for me to lead a public sector organization called CMC, Computer Maintenance Corporation. Now, those of you who are listening to this talk, you may be aware that CMC was a flagship IT services and systems engineering organization of the government of India. It was considered to be the Navaratna, one of the jewels of the Indian crown. And so, when in 2001 CMC was offered for privatization, the Tata Group looked at this opportunity of leveraging CMC for the benefit of not only the Tata Group but across the rest of the world. And so I had the unique opportunity of leading CMC as its managing director and as the chairman of CMC Americas for almost a period of 15 years, during which time CMC was traded publicly with 51% ownership from TCS and 49% ownership of the public. That gave me a unique insight into the various capabilities that the government of India had built in an organization like CMC, particularly the innovative products and innovative services that were executed by CMC for multiple companies in the public sector, as well as some of which was being leveraged also internationally. For example, the Bombay Stock Exchange computerization was done by CMC. The massive project of computerization of Indian Railways was done by CMC. The depository, the first depository in the country, was done by CMC. And then many ports in the country were automated for the logistics management system, warehouse management systems, and container management systems by CMC. So it was a fairly unique, innovative, product-oriented company. And that gave me a unique insight of how government organizations operate. Then came the opportunity. CMC got amalgamated into TCS in 2016. And there was this opportunity of Atal Innovation Mission under our Prime Minister's vision to create an impact on not only India, but also on the rest of the world through driving and creating a vibrant ecosystem of innovation, entrepreneurship across the length and breadth of the country. So that in brief is a little background about me and what I did for before I joined the Atal Innovation Mission.
Oh my god, what a great introduction. I never knew that much about you. And the way you have started your career is amazing. You have an electrical engineering background and you worked with TCS around the time when it was 1,000 times smaller than what it is today in terms of the employees. So it is something great. And not only TCS, but you headed one of the great organizations, CMC, and you have worked on a major projects for the computerization of the Bombay Stock Exchange, the railways, first depository, ports, and so many. So that's so great that you have started your career with system software engineer and you worked till the level of the managing director, and finally we were so fortunate to have you as a mission director with AIM. That's great. So guys, many of you would be thinking that what exactly is the ATL? I'll just brief about it. It is one of the aggressive initiative by our Prime Minister of India to establish innovative workplace in high schools based on the global living lab models, allowing a regular exchange of innovative ideas between the schools, teachers, expert mentors, NITI Aayog team, parents and other relevant stakeholders. So the objective of this scheme is to foster curiosity, creativity and imagination in young minds and inculcate skills such as design, mindset, computational thinking, adaptive learning to empower critical thinking, communication and problem solving. So as on today, there are approximately 7,200 Atal Tinkering Labs which has been successfully established across India, and out of which 70% of them are either in the government schools or government aided schools, including girls or co-ed schools. So hope you got a brief understanding about the Atal Tinkering Lab. So Mr. Ramanan, here is my second question. As because you headed the mission and you were responsible for the execution of the great initiative, so we would like to understand that what was the real objective to start the initiative of Atal Tinkering Lab, and were you able to achieve it in terms of your expectations? Kindly elaborate. Thank you.
Yeah, that's a wonderful question. The Atal Innovation Mission's primary goal and the primary mission under the vision of the Honorable Prime Minister is to create and promote an ecosystem of innovation and entrepreneurship across the length and breadth of the country. Now, what does that mean from an execution point of view? What it meant was, how do we first and foremost stimulate innovation and innovative spirit, an entrepreneurial spirit into thousands, millions of young students across the country? Because without that spirit of innovation, without an innovative mindset, without a problem-solving mindset, without an entrepreneurial mindset, you really cannot create many entrepreneurs. And what India needs in thousands, if not millions, are young entrepreneurs who are able to solve not only the challenges that the country have, but also leverage the opportunities that we have to make an impact on the rest of the world. And so, with a demographic dividend that we enjoy, we have more than 65% of our country under 35 years old, and we have 1.4 billion people in our country. We have more than 1.4 million schools. We have 10,500 engineering and related institutions. We have over 39,000 colleges. And we have more than 50% of our demography under 25 years old. Now, that's an enormous energy that is available in our country to be leveraged not only for the benefit of the country, but for the rest of the world. And so our first and foremost task was, how do you create this holistic ecosystem? So we started doing it by thinking of launching thousands of Atal Tinkering Labs in schools, where young students between grade 6 to grade 12 have an opportunity to be able to create solutions and acquire a problem-solving, innovative mindset, leveraging the latest of tools that are available in the world. You see, the world is making tremendous progress, and most of the solutions that we are having today is being created by technologies such as sensor technologies, cloud services, miniaturized electronics. We have augmented virtual reality. We have a whole lot of new technologies that are not only becoming affordable, but they are becoming accessible, they are becoming available, and they are getting advanced. So how do we enable the reach of such technologies through do-it-yourself kits to be able to stimulate the problem-solving, innovative thinking in our young school students between grade 6 to grade 12 and ensure that they not only acquire, but they tinker with these technologies in an atmosphere of fun and learning. I think this has been one of the most important contributions of Atal Innovation Mission in creating the framework, a sustainable, scalable framework for young students in the schools to move away from the rote learning mindset that we all have been used to, which has been beneficial. There is no doubt about that. But today, what we need is the problem-solving, innovative mindset that's going to spawn thousands of startups across the country. The second thing that we did was at the university level, we have launched hundreds of incubators. These are called Atal incubators. And the idea of these incubators is how do we create the environment, the ecosystem to stimulate our entrepreneurship, to stimulate the startup growth. Because, young students, talented students across the country, they would like to start their startup, but they need an environment and an ecosystem which supports it. In a startup's journey, there are many valleys of death, as they call. And these valleys of death are because you don't have the right technology support, you don't have the right access to research support, you don't have access to mentors, to HR, to the internal systems that are required, to venture capital support, and so on. So an incubator established in an institution, either a university or a private sector incubator, or it could be a research institution, the incubator enables a young startup with resources, with facilities, with the mentorship that is required, with various factors that can eliminate or mitigate the valleys of death in the startup life cycle. So we have launched more than 10,000 Atal Tinkering Labs in schools across the country, and these are spread across 715 districts, as you know, with 108 of them being in aspirational districts. And that is creating a tremendous journey of learning about innovation and problem solving in the young school students. And now when they go into the universities, they have the Atal incubators where their innovative, creative spirit finds expression through a startup that manifests itself in these incubators. There are more than 75 incubators today, Atal incubators, but as most of you are aware, we have more than 800 incubators in our country through various initiatives by different departments. The Department of Science and Technology, the Department of Business, DBT, MAITI, and so on and so forth. So what we have created in effect together is a vibrant ecosystem that is promoting the creation of startups and creating the innovators of the country, of the future generation. The third thing we have also done in the Atal Innovation Mission is to ensure that all these innovations find actual expression in the various communities of our country. We have 650,000 villages, we have 715 districts, we have 8,000 small towns and cities, and we have only 8 tier 1 cities. These innovations need to create local jobs and local solutions for local problems. For example, if you're in Goa, how do you stimulate the tourism industry? How do you stimulate the cashew nut industry, the fishing industry, the mining industry, the shipbuilding industry? Because these are the local industries of Goa. And you need innovation to create new ways of addressing the opportunities in these industries, not only for the benefit of Goa, but also for the benefit of the rest of the world. And then you have what are known as Atal Community Innovation Centers, which do exactly this. There are about 19 Atal Community Innovation Centers that have been launched. And so these innovations, which are developed through our incubators and through the various startups of the country, can find expression in these community innovation centers. What we need is hundreds of community innovation centers, which will create hundreds of local job centers. When we have 650,000 villages, how do we ensure that the capabilities, the resources, the facilities in a village are tapped in order to create local jobs? And then in order to stimulate innovations in specific areas that the Atal Innovation Mission believes will be of value to the country, we have launched what are known as Atal New India Challenges and Arise Challenges for the MSME industry. Arise is Applied Research and Innovation for Small Enterprises, and ANIC Challenges, which is Atal New India Challenges. These challenges are launched in discussion with the government as well as the private sector as to how you can stimulate creating products that will have national impact and perhaps international impact by their creation. All of this has resulted, as you are all aware, of a tremendous progress in innovation, entrepreneurship, and the perception of India as a very innovative country. We have leapt about from a position of 81 in 2017 to a position of 46 today in the Global Innovation Index. Now that's a remarkable progress. And all of this is due to these various innovation initiatives initiated by the Government of India, executed by the Atal Innovation Mission, and it has been a very, very rewarding and fulfilling experience for me personally, but I also think for all the people who have been involved.
Yes, Mr. Ramanan, I fully agree that you and your team has been aligned to fulfill the mission of our beloved Prime Minister Shri Modi ji, and you really worked hard to create and promote an ecosystem of innovation and entrepreneurship across the length and the breadth of the country, which is really great. And not only that, you have really supported the startups from the valleys of death and so many challenges to create a vibrant ecosystem. And this is so great because India is a talented young country. And finally, I would like to say congratulations and best of luck for ANIC and Arise kind of an initiative. That's so great initiative. Well, I'm so excited to tell you that the project, which was initially started like as a pilot project, has become one of the biggest and successful project of the country, Atal Tinkering Lab. And till today, around 1.1 lakh innovative projects has been created for social and cross-cultural collaborations, ethical leadership, and to help in building innovative solutions for India's unique problems. Well, in order to foster inventiveness among students, Atal Tinkering Lab do conduct different activities ranging from regional level, national level, and school level competitions and exhibitions or workshops. So you will agree that today we stand on the brink of a technological revolution, which will certainly alter the way we think, we live, we work, we shop, we eat, whatever we do. And this is called Industrial Revolution 4.0, which is a digital fusion actually of technologies such as artificial intelligence, robotics, the Internet of Things, autopilot vehicles, 3D printing, nanotechnology, material science, biotechnology, quantum computing, you name it, there are so many. So completely it's a digital revolution 4.0. So here we go for the third and last question to you. We want to understand that who do you think are the real heroes behind the great success of the ATL, and what message you would like to convey to them so that they feel really inspired. Thank you.
The success of any initiative, a national initiative like the Atal Innovation Mission or similar initiatives across the country, is only possible when you have multiple stakeholders who eagerly embrace the initiative as well as take a role and take a part in the execution of that initiative. So I have actually a number of people who have been involved to thank, and they are the real heroes of any success that the Atal Innovation Mission has achieved. First and foremost, of course, you have the schools, the principals, the teachers who eagerly embrace the Atal Tinkering Lab's initiative. And they took not only an eager role in making it a success, but they also stimulated the interests of many students, thousands of students across the country. And these students now are so actively involved. They love going to an Atal Tinkering Lab. They love tinkering with the technology. They love learning about what this technology can do. And they have learned about problem solving. They have learned about looking at problems in and around the communities that they live in and identify them, and then come together in small groups and create solutions for these problems rather than complaining about the problem. And that's what we exactly need in a country like India. Also, we have had thousands of mentors. We launched a unique initiative called Mentors of Change. And Vinod, I know you have been a tremendous mentor of change. And we now have more than 5,000 mentors who are associated actively with these Atal Tinkering Labs, who give the benefit of their knowledge, their experience, their desire to help the community of students acquire this problem-solving innovative mindset. And without these mentors, it would not have been possible for us to execute a project on a national scale across thousands of schools and across hundreds of districts. We also had tremendous participation by corporate partners who again came to see how they can contribute. Private sector, any initiative of the government of India can only succeed when the private sector gets actively involved in that. These have been true for most of the initiatives that the Honorable Prime Minister has launched, whether it is Swachh Bharat, whether it is Swasth Bharat, and so on. They have all been eagerly embraced by the private sector, and so the success of that initiative becomes possible. Now, in the Atal Innovation Mission, we have more than 40 partners, not just from India, but across the world. We have multinational companies, we have governments like Singapore, Israel, we have governments like Denmark, Sweden, Australia, New Zealand, and all of these have played a role in making many of our initiatives a success. They have partnered in different areas. For example, in healthcare by Sweden, or in water management by Denmark, or in the Inspreneur program that has been launched jointly between India and Singapore, or the AIM Sirius program between India and Russia. We have a wonderful program where Atal Tinkering Lab students and Russian students co-innovate together in order to understand how they can benefit from each other's knowledge and each other's experiences. So I would say the real heroes have been all the stakeholders in this system who have played an active role and who continue to play an active role today. The MSME industry, for example, eagerly embraced the ARISE initiative, or the Applied Research and Innovation for Small Enterprises. The various ministries of the government looked upon Atal Innovation Mission as an opportunity to be able to further the innovation agenda. So, for example, with the defense government, we launched what is known as IDEX, the Innovations for Defense Excellence. And this is now such a successful initiative that the Honorable Minister has also declared that 25% of the R&D expenditure for defense would be for domestic companies in the private sector, or to stimulate from our local universities and so on for the startup world. ISRO has opened up its innovation centers to the private sector and to startups. So you can see all of these stakeholders who are playing a very important role. AICT, for example, the All India Council of Technical Education, Mr. Sahasrabudhe was kind enough to ensure that all the universities became a part of the ecosystem to support Atal Tinkering Labs. So these are all the real heroes of the success, or any success, that Atal Innovation Mission has experienced. And I am so tremendously grateful for the opportunity to work with all these very, very dedicated people, whether it is the school students, the university students, whether it is the mentors, whether it is the teachers, the university professors, the management of the universities, or whether it is the various districts who have helped us in launching Atal Community Innovation Centers and in the execution of that. And I have to also thank the various state governments who have embraced supporting Atal Tinkering Labs and Atal Incubators. For example, whether it is in Telangana, or the government of Sikkim, or the government of Karnataka, or whether it is in Jammu and Kashmir or in Ladakh, all of these people have come to eagerly embrace the drive for creating a vibrant ecosystem of innovation, entrepreneurship across the country. And organizations like UNICEF or various governments, UNDP, they have all come together. And it is this together participation of all the stakeholders in the country which will ensure the success of the Atal Innovation Mission. And they are the real heroes for the Atal Innovation Mission. Thank you so much.
Oh my god, there are so many of those people who are the real heroes. If we don't mention any of them, we are going to de-edify them. So from my side, I would like to convey the vote of thanks to each one of you, including you, because you were the leader and you were the person who actually made a joint venture with them. You collaborated with them. You have put up the idea of the government in front of them. So I would like to convey thanks to all those 40 plus partners, including the private sectors, the multinational multinationals, the government, the countries like Singapore, Russia, Sweden, Denmark, Israel, Australia, who really worked eagerly to embrace the initiative. And not only that, but all the private stakeholders, including the Ministry of Indian Government, the ISRO, the Defense, AICT, MSME, UNDP, UNICEF, school teachers, parents, and definitely the students. So you and your team has created such a beautiful environment so that the students fall in love for tinkering. And today, not only they are learning in a fun way, but they are growing and their mindset is developing for the entrepreneurship. And we are really working very hard to create many entrepreneurs in coming time to support the India's mission of Atmanirbhar Bharat. So the Atmanirbhar Bharat mission is also getting fulfilled by the same ATL mission. Mr. Ramanan, on behalf of all the mentors, all the regional mentor of change, and all the teachers and all the teachers of change of India, I would like to convey personal thanks and lovely wishes to you for your great contribution. All the best for your new roles and responsibilities, which will keep you fulfilled and always a happy person. Thank you very much for being a guest at the podcast, and I'm sure that your knowledge and wisdom is going to inspire millions and billions of people across the globe. Guys, I would like to say that this is a massive revolution, and it is all happening because of the big vision of our beloved Prime Minister, Honorable Shri Narendra Modi. So finally, I would like to convey once more my sincere thanks to each and every mentor who really supported the mission very well, because this is the 50th and the last episode of the regional mentor interviews, where you discover the true motivational stories of season 1. And definitely I'll try to come up with a new idea to reconnect with all of you, which will be depending on the sponsorship of the program. So thank you once again, and Jai Hind and Jai Bharat.
Appreciate your time to join this week episode. We hope that you have enjoyed the knowledge and content. Don't forget to subscribe, follow, rate and review. And you can also share it with others on your social media and WhatsApp groups. This show is available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, Stitcher, and you can choose your favorite channel. To catch all the latest podcasts from Mr. Vinod Tiwari, you can follow him on Instagram at I am Vinod Tiwari. Have a pleasant evening.